Hello, Euphorians, and welcome to this evening's Love Island Euphoria edition. Leave your quarantine cares and stresses behind and embark with us on a journey full of teenage drama, steamy club hookups, and even a scandalous pregnancy scare. This episode, we will all hold our breaths with anxiety. Will Cassie and McKay pull through? Will Kat leave her sex work in the ashes and rise to her true love? Will Jules come running back to Rue with open arms and leave stinky Anna on the island to survive on her own? Will Rue ever take a piss? Well, lay back in your hammock and go for your inner cat and make a pina colada. Because on this edition of Euphoric Love Island, only some will survive. Stay tuned, bitches. This episode is about to get wild. Hello, Euphorians. We are back, and it's still quarantine. What a shocker. Nothing's changed. Alex and I are still here in New York City, trying to make sure, people are staying safe, staying inside, but that doesn't seem to be happening. So I think this is going to go on much longer.
Yeah, I went outside this week for the grocery run, and last week was the first time I was like, oh, it's noticeably getting better. Like, almost everyone had face masks and gloves. No one was out. And then this week, that was all wiped to shit. And there were fucking tons of people out. God. And not only were they out enjoying the nice weather, they just said, fuck it. Gloves and masks, we don't need that anymore, right?
Yeah, like we were saying, it's just stupid. At this point, like, you could literally do a simple Google search. You don't even have to Google search. It's fucking everywhere. You watch Hulu. There's an ad about COVID. You're on your phone. It's everywhere. It's literally everywhere. So there's no excuse. Like, stay home. Like, please, if you're listening, stay the fuck home. Especially if you're in New York City. Like, anywhere, great, stay home. But please, my God, we're ready to be out of this.
Actually, if you're in New York City and you leave, come see us so I can fucking kill you and remove you from the amount of people that are fucking up this situation in this city.
It's awful. Well, we don't want to start out on a negative note. I mean, that's just reality. Okay.
All right.
Reality is setting in, though. We're still in quarantine. I don't know what I did. I pinched a nerve in my back, so I'm so sorry if I've been kind of lazy on the socials, but I can literally barely move.
Lazy on the socials equals 10 stories a day for you.
I know, but I sincerely feel like a piece of shit. I just have been laying in bed drinking wine because that's all I can really do. And I don't even know what's wrong. I think I just pinched a nerve. I literally just went to put pants on, collapsed to the floor, and started crying. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm like a grandma. I think I'm just getting old. But yeah, I tore my back out, or whatever you want to say. Broke back bitch over here. But anyways, despite my life being so pitiful and depressing and sad in quarantine, it seems like Euphoria kids are just, I don't even know if thriving is the right word. They're all having very unique quarantines, it seems.
Yeah, give us the update on the Euphoria cast and their quarantine activities.
You know what, Alex? I will absolutely do that. And I even took a couple of bullet points here because everyone's doing some weird shit. We've got, you know what? First of all, the queen herself, Zendaya, finally comes out of the woodworks, if you would. All the fans are freaking the fuck out. Okay, I've seen the most ridiculous things being written on Twitter and on Instagram. And, I love our fan accounts. I love everyone that follows us. I really do. But some of their, conspiracies on why Zendaya is not tweeting is just, so stupid. Give her privacy. She's dating Jacob Elordi. It's it's quarantine. If they're dating, I don't even think they're together because he's never in any of her stories. But who cares? That's not why she's not coming out. She's not coming out because she's staying in her fucking house like everyone else should be doing. But everyone's oh my God, she just needs her privacy. Give her time. It's she is living the best life. She's waking up every morning, putting on a face mask. She's drinking by the pool, I'm sure. I don't remember. She's 22, so yeah, she's of age. She's having a great quarantine, trust me. She's not, depressed. Everyone is, acting like she's depressed or, something's bad is going on. It's praise be that she's off social media. That's great.
Yeah, that should be celebrated, if anything. But it has been fascinating getting into the world of Euphoria and seeing like the depths of the conspiracy theories about Zendaya not posting on social media.
It's nuts. They're so worried about it, and they don't need to be.
This is a crazy concept, but maybe Zendaya just doesn't like posting on social media that much.
That's crazy, Alex. You're
Or
fucking
maybe
crazy.
she has
No,
nothing to post,
she's depressed, bipolar, and has a horrible life, and she's so worried about dating Jacob, she doesn't want to post on Twitter. I mean, it's so silly and stupid.
It's fascinating.
But she did come out with her assistant Darnell. Don't ask me how I know that. I've been looking at all these fan accounts so much lately that I feel like I know Zendaya's life in and out. But she was absolutely thrilled, as all of us were, because Beyonce and Megan Thee Stallion put out a Savage remix. So she was like dancing to it and like just having fun. And then she posted like another one of her in her face mask being like, hey, how's everybody doing? Oh my God, you would have thought like we got a new president. I mean, everyone was like so amped. It was great. And we love Zendaya. So like good for her, fun. I'm glad that she's like living her best life. Honestly, like I already knew that was happening. So I wasn't sitting there like everyone else going, oh my God. But like, great. I'm happy for her. Then we've got her best friend over here, Hunter Schafer, tweeting a pregnant airplane on Twitter and saying nothing. No caption, no explanation.
I love
She hasn't been on Twitter. I mean, you read earlier, she had a tweet like from back in like September saying, oh, I forgot my password. Like, I'm never on here. So
I love this for Hunter.
I do too. I think it's funny.
Social media for years, and weird Twitter is truly great.
But what do you think is the meaning behind it? It is fascinating.
I love weird Twitter, and Hunter Schafer posting like a shitty cartoon image of a pregnant airplane in a bed is like peak weird Twitter celebrity crossover, and I
would you feel really awful if she came out and was like, oh, I was just posting my art? She actually does like art.
That is absolutely not her art. But even if she did and that was her art, I don't think anyone would feel bad because it's a fucking pregnant plane. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a pregnant airplane.
I don't think she would be offended by everyone laughing at the pregnant
I don't know
airplane
what that means.
painted.
I was trying to relate it back to like COVID or whatever, coronavirus, however you want to say it. I thought it was kind of like going into that, but like then I was like, no, that doesn't make any sense. No one's flying airplanes. But anyways,
my
that's
guess
all we
is
get
that
from Hunter.
My guess is that there is no deeper meaning.
No, and I
love it.
She's in LA, but I know she's from New York, so I wonder if she's quarantining in LA or New York. No idea. Wouldn't know, because all she did was literally since quarantine, all she's posted.
I don't know.
Is that
I'm gonna be keeping tabs
airplane.
on her Twitter now, though, because
yeah,
I'm here for more pregnant plane art.
Fire content. Then we've got. I mean, I'll have you tell the story because I wasn't watching the live. I was busy, but Fez was live.
Yes,
or not Fez.
The only person that I keep tabs on from the Euphoria cast is Angus Cloud, and the other day he was hanging out at his apartment in LA.
He was live streaming
and he was on live, and he was showing everyone what he likes to do with his days, which includes going to his window with a handful of pennies, and he's like 3 or 4 stories up, and he drops the pennies and tries to land them on the windowsills of the people below him. And you can see, like, on the windowsills that he, like, all the pennies he's landed.
Wow.
And they've, like, turned black from, like, being out on the windowsills for so long in the weather. And so he was just there, like, dropping pennies. And like,
I really love this
He got
for
one
him.
or two.
Do you think his neighbors don't ever bring it up
funny.
or don't give a shit because they're just like, well, he's on Euphoria?
Well, he said on the live stream that none of his neighbors have taken the screens out of their windows. He's the only one that has. So maybe they don't even know.
That's so funny.
I don't know.
Well, I really love that for him.
They're not opening their screens and retrieving the pennies, though, which I would be doing.
Yeah, of course
I would be like, oh,
cheap.
Free pennies. Like, get in here.
What would you do with fucking pennies, Alex? God.
I don't know. If you get 100 of them, you get $1.
Well, I really love that for Angus. I'm glad he has pennies on hand. I mean, that's always important because, you know, who doesn't want pennies on hand? You never know what life situation you're going to get into, and I love this for him. Then we've got Tyler. He is he's definitely not dropping pennies. He's
what is his name?
Dropping bands in Palm Springs.
In
Tyler?
Real life? Yeah.
Oh, Lucas Gage.
Okay, Lucas Gage, who plays
God, you put me in the hot seat.
Tyler the pool boy with the broken neck.
The pool boy with the neck brace. He's really having a great quarantine. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's in Palm Springs because he's always driving a golf cart. Wherever he is, it looks like it's a golf course, so I'm just assuming. So I don't know. But he's there with his girlfriend and her mom, who's really like... She's a character. Like, everyone really likes her. She's always wearing curlers.
Mom you showed me the other day?
She's funny, though. Like, she's really hype, and she's always drinking. So I feel like He's kind of in like our ideal quarantine. I have a picture I'll post of him later. I feel like it's a total mood. He's like in a white robe with like a martini in hand. Lucas is just living. So here for Tyler. Maud's busy obviously because she's got her new show on Netflix, which I'm definitely so stoked to binge. Like I'm gonna do it. So yeah, she's busy. She has real life things going on. She's not dropping pennies either. Sydney is looking hot. She's working out every day. I mean, she is disciplined. We found out on a live stream last week. She's been doing live streams a lot. She's really bored. Who isn't? And she only drinks water.
I was about to bring that up. Sydney Sweeney seems like a great person, but I wonder a little bit because she only drinks water. Which makes
we saw her. She's so sweet.
Yes, but now that I know that she only likes water, I'm incredibly skeptical of her as a person.
We don't know that though. Halsey sent her like a package for her new single out because she was in one of her old music videos. Sent her a package with tequila in it, and I kept trying to ask her in the live. I like actually really wanted to know, like, does she drink? Like, she has to have a glass of wine here and then. I mean, come on.
I feel like only crazy people only drink water. Right?
She's not crazy though.
Like Angela from The Office probably only drinks water.
Yeah, but Sydney's hot.
Like
she also did
serial killers probably only drink water.
She also posted a video of her like with a tits
weirded out.
A tits inflatable. That was a
tits inflatable.
I showed you.
What does that mean?
She was wearing a pool inflatable that was
one.
big tits.
Yes, the like an inner tube for the pool that's big tits.
So
I thought you meant she had inflatable tits.
I mean, Sydney's doing great. Honestly, the reason she looks the way she does is because she's drinking water. She's not pounding PBRs like we are right now. So honestly, like sure, that's a bummer and that's weird, but she's thriving.
We came from Portland. We're allowed to chug a PBR here and there.
I hate beer. Anyways, Algie Smith, our McKay dude, he's honestly doing the same old shit. He's just blowing his feet up with his music. He is so into his music. And I mean, you should be. Like, if you're an artist, you should be confident and be into your music. But, like, my God, he posts his music every single day. You know what, though? I stan Algie. He was so sweet. So I'm like, you know what, Algie? Like, you do you, boo. But, like, it's really funny. Like, every day he's just posting his music.
Yeah, it's funny. Here, I feel like this is what you need to know about Algie and his music. He's the type of guy that listens to his own music.
Yeah, while working out.
He, like, posts videos of him, like, working out or something with his tracks playing in the background. Which, but honestly, I feel like that's all you need to say, you know?
All I have to say is, of course I can't relate to that. I'm not a singer, and I don't have a recording of myself, but I want to believe if I did, I would listen to it working out. I feel like I would want to hear my own voice. I mean, I feel like that's very motivating. I love hearing my own voice.
I literally
So Algie, I stan.
But yeah,
anyways, Barb Cat, she's been playing Animal Crossing. That's really all I've got from her. Cool. Her Instagram every day is just like, hey, check me out on Animal Crossing. Hey, Animal Crossing. Hey, oh, look at me, Animal Crossing. But honestly,
very into the Animal Crossing.
I mean, embrace it. It is what it is, and good for her. Quarantine, thriving. What else is anybody doing that's that exciting? We're not doing anything that exciting, so I can't even shit on her for it.
We're making a podcast.
I mean, yeah, sure, but like she made a fucking, a star of herself by being on Euphoria, so whatever.
All right.
The only other thing I will say about like the live world out there outside of our podcast is Lightgear did a webinar all about Euphoria.
What's Lightgear?
That's a good question. She put me on the spot. I think they're like a light company, like electrical company.
Like
look it up real
lighting?
Quick. It's lighting because they talk all about like the show. I'm so embarrassed that you just asked me this. Thanks, Alex. Because I realized
it would be good to say.
Like, I know. I should have done the
so.
research, but you know what? They did shout me out. I felt so stupid. I meant to do it from our podcast account, but I was on my personal, and they shouted me out anyway. And I thought it was so sweet of them because I really loved the webinar. I watched it. It's super, super technical and informative. So if you're not like an ultra film geek, it might not be the content for you. But it was super cool. We learned so much. We'll definitely be kind of talking about it all throughout the episode, just like little things here and there. But they made me focus on like the camera work, the lighting. So it was really interesting because you and I say over and over how much we love how it's filmed, the lighting. I mean, that's really what makes the show. So it's absolutely worth checking out. It is on their website and it's on YouTube as well.
True.
But Alex, what is Lightgear?
Lightgear Incorporated
was I right?
It's a stage lighting equipment supplier based in Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, shit, they're here in Brooklyn.
Maybe we'll go see them sometime.
Or no, maybe we'll interview one of them. I mean, it was interesting. I mean, maybe you can do your nerd hour.
I mean, I'm super interested in that type of stuff. Like, they're doing one about The Mandalorian coming up soon, which I was also super into. Like,
yeah, it's really cool.
Actually, tomorrow.
It's actually really cool that they're, like, doing this during quarantine. I love how creative people are being. So, you know what? I was, like, here for it. And like I said, it's really technical. It's definitely not our podcast. They're not, like, spilling hot tea, but, like... It's lukewarm tea.
If you want to, like, if you're really, like, into the nerdy details of, like, Euphoria, like us, and you want to listen to, like, how they lit, like, outside scenes at night and stuff, really like, cool. Check it out. It is cool. I liked it.
So, without further ado, I think it is time to dive right in to episode 7.
Should we dive right in?
We need to deep dive in.
All right.
Cassie's episode.
Well, this is called, what is it? The Trials and Tribulations of Peeing While You're Depressed. Yeah, that was a mouthful. It is a mouthful. And this is the first episode that breaks from
TT and P.
Yeah. Yep, nailed it. So, the first one breaking from the hip-hop naming structure since the pilot.
How funny. Maybe they just woke up and they were like, fuck, we can't think of a hip-hop song that would even remotely work for this.
I don't know. But one funny thing I did find is that when I was going back and looking at the hip-hop names for the different episodes, there were articles that were trying to predict what the episodes of Euphoria would be about based on the, like, hip-hop song names before the show had, like, completely aired. And when someone like found like the names of the episodes, and everyone was trying to find a song called The Trials and Tribulations of Trying to Pee While You're Depressed. So people were like scouring the internet thinking that was a song name. They thought that was a song name. So people were like scouring the internet being like, I can't find any song like named this. Like, what is it referencing? What does it mean? Because the episode hadn't aired.
That'd be a funny rap.
Someone should make that song.
Maybe you should.
But yeah, so there we go. We get Cassie's little intro.
Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting because we get a lot about Cassie's upbringing, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, we've stanned her character all throughout this podcast, but I think we get a much better look into her life and why she's the way she is. But as a little girl, whoever played it, I have no idea. I mean, I could look it up in the credits, but she doesn't have any socials. I looked it up, so I was kind of bummed about that. She's a cute little kid.
Her name is meaningless if she doesn't have a social presence.
True. No, that's exactly what I meant.
Names mean nothing. Only handles.
I loved her makeup. I praise the makeup artist per usual. It's just so fun. But yeah, we got a real inside look, and their upbringing is pretty dysfunctional. You know, I mean, it's kind of average though. Like,
we got Cassie's dad. He's cute. He's got the crown on. The ladies like him. The mom's charming. A little salty about it, but they say he's a good guy. He's good to the mom.
She's kind of a lush. She embarrasses him,
too much.
It seems like at the end
of it, she gets drunk a lot.
It seems like at the end of it, they just shouldn't. They're not meant to be. Meaning, like, she's having fun and getting drunk, and sure, it's like a little much, but like, if you really loved someone, you would just, like, take care of them and be like, oh, like, ha, ha, ha. But, like, it seems like he's pissed. So they're just always, like, neck and neck. Like, not. They just don't seem to be a good couple. I don't think there's nothing really more to say about that. They're just really dysfunctional.
Yeah.
But Cassie's we see Cassie. Mom, she's kind of awkward.
They get divorced.
Well, she's growing into herself. Like, you can tell that she's it's kind of cute. She's very oblivious as a young kid to, like, her, like she says, like, she went through puberty. Obviously, Rue's narrating it, but she's like, she went through puberty, and from what you can tell, she doesn't seem aware of it. Meaning, like, her uncles are, like, hugging her, and are like, ooh, and she's like, huh?
Yeah, all the creepy, like, uncles are incesting her, and it's real weird.
Yeah, it's weird, but I actually can relate, and Alex knows this story. I have a really fucking weird family. My family is, like, all Mormon, and I'm not anymore. I mean, none of my, like, actual siblings are Mormon, but, like, our outer relatives?
Yeah,
like,
the distant relatives.
The distant relatives are all Mormon. And it's so funny, like...
all, like...
I just related to this.
Uncles and aunts and cousins. And
I was at my aunt's wedding in California, and I was wearing like a normal, like a dress, just like a spaghetti strap dress. And I gave my uncle a hug, and he like held me all tight just like that and was like, ooh, like, Paige, maybe you should wear a shawl next time. Okay, what the fuck is a shawl?
Who wears a shawl in California?
Who wears a shawl ever? And if you're wearing one, like...
What are you, like an 80-year-old woman?
Yeah, in 8th grade. I was in 8th grade. Fuck you, uncle. Why don't you wear a fucking shawl? That's what I felt like saying.
Fucking incester.
I did give him... I always hated this uncle, still do. And I definitely, like, gave him the finger. And that was it. Like, I was just, like... didn't want to deal with him, but like, yeah, it was disgusting. So
yeah, fuck him.
I feel
Should we
Cassie.
call him out by name and send him an audio fuck you?
I would really prefer not to, Alex.
Okay, cool.
But yes.
Next time.
So that happened to me. So gross. I mean, just classic, like, piggish relative uncle sicko. But yeah. So anyways, it's very clear that she's kind of naive to it, but then learns as she grows up that it's like kind of something that, you know, guys are interested in, and starts to kind of find validation through these guys because of her, like, kind of dysfunctional family.
She has like a pretty classic case of the daddy issue.
Also, sorry if there's noise, but like, I am getting another beer right now. But keep talking.
You get another beer, baby. But yeah, she's got a pretty classic, like, textbook daddy issues case. Her dad obviously becomes more and more distant after the divorce. He's seeing them every weekend, then every other weekend, then he's not really showing up much.
Which is, like, really
He has
sad.
his car crash and gets into drugs after being addicted to the painkillers. Beautiful.
Woo! That's some ASMR shit. That's a PBR,
beautiful.
ladies and gentlemen.
PBR.
But yes.
Yeah, and then as he's drug addicted after the car crash,
You also mentioned how sad that is.
Yeah, it's just like, it's so sad and common that people that have an accident and then are on these really, really heavy painkillers in the hospitals and stuff
get addicted,
end up later suffering like pretty serious drug addictions because they're on like medical grade opiates for so long.
Well, he was on fentanyl too.
And then they basically,
Did you hear that? She like calls it all out. Rue does.
Yeah, and then they're basically like cold turkeyed, so that's obviously a pretty tough adjustment if you've been having like fucking fentanyl every day for like 3 months while you're in the hospital.
Whenever you want.
They're like, all right,
remember
out.
He could like click it by the button and you just get it.
I'm sure you get like some Vicodin or some Oxy or something once you get out of the hospital, but like eventually, like you're gonna be cut off eventually. And
totally.
These people by this point have developed like pretty serious addictions to that, and that's very common. And it's so sad that just like having an accident or something like that, you survive, but then you have to deal with this other fucking
the repercussions of the accident.
Wrecks a lot of people's lives afterwards.
Yeah, it's so fucked. It's really sad. Also, they did such a good job of making Lexie and Cassie look really young in this episode, which I love. They're both like in retainers or braces like most of the time, and it's so funny. They look really cute. Like they actually look like they're younger. So once again, props, because that, I don't know. Yeah, I like when shit looks real. Like
so that. Yeah, speaking of the ages too, this was interesting because this is the first time for my like 3 or 4 watches or whatever, and I think in all of Paige's watches as well, that I realized that Lexie is the younger sister. I don't know why, but I have always thought Lexie was the older sister and Cassie was the younger sister.
We both can say why we know. I mean, I think Lexie has proven to be a little more mature than Cassie. I mean, not like astronomically so, but I think it's natural for you to think Lexie's older because she does come off a little more.
I think it's that we see less of her, and she doesn't do much in the show, so we don't really get a sense for her other than like the times we see her where she's usually just being responsible or chill.
Yeah.
So we don't really get like much of a picture of Lexie, so she comes off as like the more
You don't think she babies Cassie a little bit though? She's always like checking in on her and kind of saving her from shit. So I feel like that's kind of more of an older sibling move than it is like a younger. Fair.
But yeah, I noticed.
What I mean?
Yeah, true. But when I was watching this episode, I was noticing that they were like in the flashbacks. It was like Lexie had like pigtails, and Lexie was sitting in the back seat, and like a lot of stuff that was kind of like making her appear to be like the younger sister. And then I was like, oh, is she like younger? And she definitely is. She's
and I didn't know that. So we're just learning new things. Watch Euphoria fucking 20 times like me, and you still are learning new things.
Left and right.
So then what's next? I mean, we get obviously the sad scene of her dad returning. I thought it was kind of funny that he was rummaging around in like the china basket. Like
he was getting like silver, probably. The silver, yeah.
Do you really get money from like china plates anymore for drugs?
He was getting the silver.
I mean, Who has a bunch of silver lying around? I just think it's.
I mean,
silly.
all
like
the silverware.
It's
like, silverware.
I know,
silver.
but I think it's
stupid
something. That he was like rummaging through like the old china cabinet. Like, I don't know. I thought he was gonna go and like take money out of a wallet or something.
Well, drug addicts need like raw material to turn into money because they can't like.
Sure,
it's hard to
sketchy.
It's hard to like.
Yeah.
Turn items into money in a non-sketch way.
I just thought that was funny.
And metal is like always one of the classic ways. That's why they steal like copper wiring and shit.
Totally.
So yeah, he steals all the silverware. Then we get Cassie. She's got her daddy issues. She's seeing a lot of dudes, banging a lot of dudes.
Yep.
They're all like
making her do videos
this for the camera, do that for the camera, and she's like, okay.
Definitely makes Alex never want to have a girl. I mean, that's just like the reality of it. I know that like people might think that that's dramatic, but that's actually like very, very accurate. I mean, I've definitely dated guys that have pressured me into like wanting to make a video, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, next.
Yeah, no thanks, bud. Although that one bud had a Daft Punk poster in the background.
That's true.
Not that he gets much credit for that, but still.
No. But yeah, guys be horny and they want those vids, but
and then we
ladies,
yeah,
you tell them thank you next.
Well, unless the ladies want to give them the vids.
Yeah, sure. But like, it's really not smart to do that anyways, no matter what, when you're that young, because like that shit will get churned out no matter what.
These days, regardless of how into it you are, it's usually not a good idea.
It's usually not a good idea. It's just like, just come on. You don't need to do it.
True.
But
and then we get some ice skating scenes where they did some pretty impressive like camera trickery to make it look like Sydney Sweeney is a professional ice skater.
Yeah, you'll see this in the webinar if you watch it on the Like Your website. They talk a lot about how they literally built a contraption that has like hockey pucks at the bottom, like of the whatever. She stands in it and it spins around. So, in other words, she didn't have to learn how to ice skate. I mean, she probably had to, like, generally know how to move around, but, like, not much. Because they just have her spinning on this fucking contraption. Yeah,
basically, they, like, would spin her really, really fast using, like, a device
I don't think
built.
she had a double either.
And then they would go around they would bring the camera around her while she was spinning in the opposite way to make it look even faster.
Totally. They also said the ice rink was in, like, Pasadena, and it was, like, super busy. So they kept having to, like... They would literally, like, a hockey game would happen, and then they'd start filming, like, right after, and then a hockey game would go on, like, after that.
That probably took forever to film.
Yeah, so it was just cool to see, and the lighting is just insane. Like, they put so many hours of work into that shit. So.
Yeah, we get more of that disgusting yellow lighting that they love.
But it works. It really does.
I don't mean that in, like, a way that I'm critical, but it's, like, gross. Like,
they talk about how it's a really sepia, and, like, how they picked those colors. It's cool.
Yeah.
And they tried not to make everything super rainbow, which... I appreciate, because that's true. Like, when they're raving and stuff, it's not, like, super obnoxious and, like, every color in the fucking rainbow. They stick to, like, a very similar color tone throughout the entire show.
Yeah, they stick super solidly in, like, the like, dark purples and blues range, and then...
For the rest, it's, like, a weird green,
you get,
yellow,
like, the gross yellow
amber.
lighting, and those are kind of really, like, the main colors. You got your, like, bluey purples,
totally.
Your nasty-ass yellow, and that's kind of...
And it works. Yeah. It looks great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then after we get like Cassie's whole intro, we get the credits, right? And then what's next?
Yeah, we get the title card, and then we're on to Rue is in bed, depressed, and she be watching Love Island,
which I've never watched.
Peeing. You don't need to watch Love
She's
Island.
not having trouble peeing. I think what you don't understand is she's having like a... It's where you're like so depressed you literally can't even move, like that kind of thing. She's not actually...
That's having trouble peeing. If you can't pee because you're so depressed you can't move, you're having trouble peeing.
No, I'm just saying, like, she could just get up and go to the fucking bathroom, but she's really sad.
She's so depressed that she's literally unable to, like, get to the bathroom.
One thing we also need to bring up is that she's not only just depressed, she's in a manic state. They show that her bipolar, which I have a question. So, they obviously diagnose her early on, and her mother knows she has bipolar. She went to the therapist in the first episode.
Who diagnoses her of this?
The therapist, remember?
No, refresh my memory.
In the first episode, her parents, when they show her like growing up as a kid, her mom starts like sobbing because they find out that she has like bipolar, and she's has to take all these medications, and she's always like counting and looking at the ceiling. So I guess my question is,
was that bipolar that they were diagnosing her with at that point? I thought it was other stuff.
Yes, they tell her she's bipolar, and she's like, huh? And her mom's like, okay, honey, like, tells her what it is.
Yeah. I know she got the OCD thing and the anxiety.
Yeah, she has a bunch of stuff, but bipolar is definitely mentioned. So I guess my question is, I'm not super, super familiar on bipolar. I mean, I know, like, the basics, but if she's on medication, which I'm assuming she is, why is she in this, like, can you still get in, like, really manic states on your medication, or is she just not taking it?
First, why would you ever assume Rue is taking her meds?
True.
Rue is the last person that's going to be strictly sticking to her medication.
Yeah, and she also... I'm thinking she's
probably... I don't even know if
she's
prescribed meds, but if she is, I really doubt she's taking
I think she usually is. I think Jules threw her off. I think her moment with Jules might have made her really depressed, and sometimes when people are depressed, they don't do what they're supposed to do, like take their meds. I don't know.
These seem like a lot of assumptions.
I'm just saying she's in a pure manic state, and we haven't seen this yet.
Yes, agreed. And I think that's interesting, and I have some questions. Like, I mean, it doesn't really seem consistent. I think it's storytelling wise that we've gone 6 episodes and really haven't seen any of this like huge swing between the we haven't really seen like the manic states. We've seen plenty of the depression, but usually it's been like related to events.
Yeah, I think it's good they show it though.
Manic side either.
It's more believable because now we like see her literally having like this mental health issue.
But it also kind of feels like they forgot about it until the end of the show.
Yeah, maybe that could very well be it. But also, I think it's very common that people go off their meds when they're depressed.
I have a hard time believing Rue was taking meds. She was in rehab. I don't think she was taking meds in rehab. She gets out of rehab and she immediately starts doing drugs. I don't think she was sticking to a strict regimen of taking her meds
her mom might be making
while she was on fentanyl and shit. True. Like going buck wild all over the place. And then she's sober. And I think to Rue, being sober would probably include not taking bipolar meds. So
also, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, and I also don't know enough. And I probably should have done some research before we did this episode. But I also think that you can always relapse. Meaning, you could be bipolar and go off your meds and be doing great, and then you could relapse and have a manic episode. So it could be that she was doing really well and just kind of slipped away and then had a bad thing.
That's very true.
So anyways, we see her kind of going in this manic state, which brings about her being a detective with Lexie.
Yeah.
She's trying to figure out this shit.
Yeah,
she's
Rue knows
what
something's
the fuck is up with Jules?
Nate and Jules. So we get the great, the Detective Rue and Detective Howard sequence.
You know what also bums me out, though? I think she obsesses over it, not just because she's a great friend and also loves Jules, but I think it's a way to distract herself from the very thought of maybe Jules just isn't as into me as I am into her. You know what I mean?
It's a mystery. It's a distraction. It's something to focus on. Like, of course, it's like much easier to imagine that there's some like crazy detective circumstances that need investigating, and that's why you and Jules aren't like together. Yeah, as opposed to something
cute.
else.
Her and Lexie go full force. Olivia Benson and Stabler.
Yeah. Rue has some good detective talk. She's like, keep looking, you mook. Like saying classic detective shit like that.
And she calls Lexie Howard. I love that.
Yeah, she's talking about Morgan Freeman.
Smoking a lot of cigarettes.
In all the movies, which is actually great because Zendaya would be a perfect like female young Morgan Freeman.
She's so funny.
She's kind of a dead like ringer personality and like vibe wise in this sequence for like baby Morgan Freeman.
She does a good job. She sells it. And it doesn't seem quirky or like out of place. Like I think on another show this might be something where you cringe and go, this is so stupid.
No, it's
but it
great.
Really worked for this.
Yeah, and they've kind of set the precedent before because they've done the like they have the dick pic lesson, they've had the like Rue's sexual history lesson, so they kind of have like established that they like drop out of the main narrative of the show to do these kind of like fun
quirky sideline things,
genre things, which are fun.
They're really fun.
So I like that. We get some, after that, we get some Cassie and Lexie, where Lexie kind of hits her with the classic, like, fucking attractive people always, like, complaining about their looks line. Yep. Like, Cassie's doing the classic, like, kind of whining about it.
To be fair, what sucks, though, is, I mean, it doesn't matter. I get why Lexie reacted the way she did, and good for her for calling her out, because it seems like this is something that happens a lot that we don't know about, meaning this has probably come up between her and Lexie. But what sucks is she's saying that obviously because she's pregnant. She knows she's pregnant.
Yeah, of
course. She's like asking her sister, like, yo, do I like look different? And then her sister's just like, oh my god, like you're fucking perfect. Shut up. But yeah.
Because as we all know, like attractive people that constantly complain about their appearance are like pretty insufferable.
It's really
and like everyone has their confidence issues, but like have some self-awareness to know that the people around you, either don't give a shit or that it's really annoying because everyone knows you're way hotter than them and they don't want to hear about that shit. Like,
exactly. Also, like, such a petty first world problem. Like, you know bullshit. If you're attractive. Trust me, you fucking know. Cassie, Sydney Sweeney. I'm just kidding. I mean, she knows she is, but Cassie does not. But anyways, so yeah, good for Lexie. All praise to her.
I like Lexie on that line for giving it to her a little bit. Another
giving her
reason,
tough love.
Yeah, another reason Lexie kind of seems like the older sibling sometimes. Like she's more of the one.
She's more self-aware.
Giving it to her straight, giving her the tough talk. But
she's kind of motherly to Cassie. It definitely feels like she's the older sister, but she's not. Psych.
Yep. But we get a little. So then after that, we get a little flashback to Halloween. We got
gross.
We got Daniel and Kat talking and having a little pillow talk after their rendezvous. Pillow talk. And Kat mentioned something about how they dated when they were 11, and Daniel's like, "We dated," and just doesn't remember.
Not only that, he's like he's such a dick about it.
Which is
he
kind of
very
funny. He's being a huge ass about it.
It's honestly karma. Well, because it's karma. The reason you don't feel that bad for Kat is because you're like, you know what? You left sweet Ethan. It could not have taken him that long to clean up his jizz, and you just left him in the bathroom. He was coming back for more, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He could get it up after that. I mean, she just left him high and dry, literally. Yep. So, it's just like...
Well, not dry.
He patted it with some towels. It's fine.
She left him sticky and probably limp. Flaccid and sticky is how she left him.
No. So anyways, I need to get that out of my mind, so please change the subject as soon as you can. That was so nasty. I don't want to talk about
so they have their little thing. He forgets. She's kind of she's obviously a little bummed that he doesn't even remember the fact that they dated, which was very monumental to her. I don't think
she's bummed, but I think she's more bummed that she just now had sex with him. It's more of a like, fuck.
Yeah, she thinks that this was like a power move, and it was like, we used to date and you broke up with me and now we're fucking, and it's like he literally doesn't even remember that you guys used to date. Like, exactly. So the power move didn't really work out. But now we go to we cut to the meeting of the minds that Cassie has called. She's like,
the Knights at the Round
She's doing table. Like the mafia boss thing. She's called like the heads of all the families to have a sit down.
Yep.
And they're going to talk about some shit.
And it's great. I love this scene. Well. No, it does not go well, but I do love this scene. It just shows everyone's character like so accurately, and it also kind of like gives you a summary of where everyone's at. Meaning like Kat, for instance. Like Kat flips out on Maddie, which I love. I think, honest to God, the whole show, Maddie's never called out for being a bitch. So I love that Kat's just like, fuck you. All you do is talk about yourself, your stupid boyfriend, who is Nate. And like, you know me, I love Maddie, but also like she needs to be fucking told that. And so I think Kat's some
serious.
Like Cassie's never gonna. Cassie and Lexie are never gonna go up against Maddie. So it's like it really is up to Kat at this point. And BB's just drooling and doing her own fucking thing.
Who knows? But yeah, they.
BB has a great line.
Yeah, they get it. Kat and Maddie are getting into it. They're calling each other out for being bad friends, and they're talking shit.
Maddie calls her a cunt. She's like, "When did you stop being so funny and turn into a real cunt?" Or something like that.
Yeah, and BB's like, "Oh, World Star," which is a great.
I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, Paige didn't catch this reference, but it's a reference to WorldStarHipHop.com, which is like this hilarious website that's been around for fucking ever, and it's basically like Ratchet YouTube. It's like fight videos and like hip hop video premieres and like strippers twerking and cars like drag racing and like shit like that. It's just like ratchet videos.
Once again, so here for BB.
It's fucking great. I love World Star, but because of the fight, whenever people fight, get in fist fights, people like video it and then put it on World Star. So it's now tradition to yell out World Star whenever people are going to fight.
Ratchet,
whenever people are fighting.
Yeah. Okay.
When people are fighting, you yell World Star.
I mean,
Hot tip.
God bless BB. She literally gets no justice. She needs to be in more episodes. She's so funny and she's so accurate of a high schooler. So like, I'm so here for her. Also, side note, I literally want to make it our goal to get her on the podcast. I have so many questions for her. I want to bring her to light. I want her to be in season 2 more. Like, I hope we can help her with that. Yeah. I adore her. And also, I'm not making this up. So many of our fans have DM'd being like, hey, we want to hear, we love that you call her Julian Janice and that you love and support
Julian
BB.
Janice, our girl. So, hey, we're going to try.
What do you call it? The forgotten son, the prodigal son. She needs to be brought. The prodigal daughter. I just love BB.
Look, we're gonna try, and we'll keep you all updated on our efforts.
We are gonna
we
actually
are gonna try.
Sophia, if you hear this, we're trying.
Yeah.
But then moving on. So
the meeting doesn't go very well. Cassie had hoped to call her friends here for advice on her like kissing Daniel and on her pregnancy, and she doesn't even get to the pregnancy because everything implodes.
Because Kat and Maddie are so selfish, they get into this big
they just
fight.
get into a huge fight about who's a shittier friend, and then Kat walks home crying.
Well, to be fair, like I said, I always take Kat's side, but I'm like, you know what? No, Maddie brought it up, and Kat needed to defend herself. She wasn't like trying to detour the conversation from Cassie. She was literally just like, Maddie, fuck you.
I think they both have pretty valid points. I think they've both been kind of shitty friends in their own ways, and both of them are kind of calling each other out for shit that's valid.
That's evident.
But anyways, Kat walks out, and there's this really funny shot where she's like walking down the street and crying, and from behind, I didn't know that it was Kat because she's dressed like a 45-year-old woman, and I was literally like, who is this? What is this scene? What are we cutting to?
Where you get the 45-year-old
And then they pan around to the front, and she's Kat.
I don't know where you get 45-year-old woman. I get like dentist, like
she has like a frumpy trench coat and like mom jeans and like I don't even remember, but I just was like, what is this character? Who's this mom walking down the street? And then it's Kat.
I know, but I don't even want to like trash her outfit in this part because this is the most sad I've ever been for Kat, and this is actually I think
I was much more sad for Kat when she was doing tiny dick diaper man shit.
Really,
that was a low. That was the low.
Ugh, I was not. Barb did great. I think emotionally she acted this scene very well. It like made me like really sad because I told you what always pulls my heartstrings when like kids are bullied or like aren't happy in school and like aren't confident, like that just like kills me. So I just think it's so sad because it's the first time we really see Kat fall apart, and I mean fall apart. Like she's bawling her eyes out. I think she feels ostracized from her friends, and yes, I know you're right. She's kind of done it to herself, but also she's very lost, and her friends are not really that fucking helpful, looking at their tits in the mirror, talking about how much they want to bang dudes at parties and how they care so much about their appearance. It's kind of hard to like be in a friend group like that and feel validated and feel supported, if you will.
Yes, very true.
Literally Maddie in the first episode is looking at her tits in the mirror. Like,
yeah, I think I said this like much earlier in the podcast, but like these characters are not good people. There is almost no one on Euphoria that you could through and through say is a good person. There's maybe a couple.
Really?
I think there's a few,
what do you mean
but
by that's,
for the most part, these are not very. They're not very good people.
I don't think we should go down that path.
They're not necessarily
defining
like
a good
friends.
person is really hard to do.
That is very hard to do. But these are at the best.
Because I would say some of them are good people.
At the best, this is a group of pretty sus people with some pretty serious problems, and most of them are not very good friends to each other.
True, but they're also in high school. Let's remember.
Yeah,
they're not in college.
I mean, I'm not going to go crucify him for it.
It's pretty harsh.
But this is a show about people with a lot of problems that are not very good to each other.
Sure, that's a better way of wording it, though. I wouldn't say everyone's not a good person.
I think a lot of the people in Euphoria are not necessarily good people. They're very interesting characters, but many of them are not necessarily great people. But anyways, it's interesting.
But anyways, Alex and I strongly disagree with one another.
This is not a great friend group. There's a lot of toxic relationships in this friend group. There's a lot of lack of valid support and maturity.
But they come together at the end.
I mean, they have like a moment at a prom where they're all like, oh, we're friends. Like, but it's like half of you have been shitting on each other.
True.
You haven't been there for each other. You haven't done this. You haven't done that. They're kind of like a pretty like
high school.
They're a pretty loose conglomerate of associates.
True.
None of them are like real like ride or dies for everyone. Some of them have their own like one-way, two-way relationships with one or two other people that are strong.
Totally.
But as a group, this isn't like a super strong, supportive, like loving friend group. It's a kind of a shit show. It's a hot mess.
It's Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
It's a big hot
They're
mess.
all very close. I love it.
Julie and Janice is there yelling World Star while two like close friends are imploding their relationship.
Calling each other cunts.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. Moving on. Cal and Nate have this like little, I don't even know if you want to call it a heart-to-heart. They're so fucking weird.
Yeah, it's a really like tense conversation. They're not like, it's not a cool conversation. It's very
at the house,
tense.
Right?
Yeah. Nate gives Cal like an aggressive like man like shoulder bump but basically Cal
why does it even come up, do you think?
Cal's like sitting on Nate's bed or somewhere where Nate can see him like awkwardly. I forget whose room they're in, but
he slams the door shut.
He's like sitting awkwardly and like looks at him when he comes up the stairs, so they have a little talk, and Cal is basically like, hey, I know you like got out of this, I don't know how, I know it was probably sus.
How? With you? He got out of it because...
No, he got out of it because he blackmailed Jules and Tyler into going to the cops.
Oh, you're right.
So
I mean, I know that,
Cal
but I was
is
thinking,
like...
so he doesn't know, I forget. So
he doesn't
the dad
know
has no
how.
idea.
So Cal is like, you got out of this. I don't know how.
Got it.
He probably knows it was sus, but he said his line is like...
He's like, I don't want to know.
His line is, I hope this didn't teach you the wrong lessons.
Well, it did, Cal.
And it's like, well... What the fuck do you think, Cal? Like, your entire life has been teaching Nate the wrong lessons. So, of course, he got out of this in the wrong fucking way. He didn't learn any lessons. No. He just learned to keep manipulating the shit out of people to get what he wants, which is what you taught him.
And he didn't have a parent to guide him through it. He didn't have anybody. Also, fuck Cal for, like, having this episode where he's all vulnerable and like, oh, I just want to, like, be better to my sons. I wonder if they're affected by me. Fucking horror. Like,
yeah, and then he's putting, like, the intimidation routine on Nate and, like, judging him and shit. It's like, what the fuck? Why do you think Nate is equipped to make good decisions about how to handle this situation in the first place? All you've taught him is, like, fear of shit and, like, paranoia and aggression. Like, of course he does. He's not equipped to handle this the right way. Like,
I know.
You set him up for failure, Cal, and it's your fault. I just think it's weird. And if you want to fix it now, you got to come in and, like, try to rewire some shit. Like, you can't just come in and expect him to, like, have it together.
I just think it's weird that he got this little pity party in the last episode. And as a viewer, especially the first time, you kind of feel, you don't feel bad for him, but you're kind of like, oh, interesting. Like, he does have a little side of him that kind of, like, cares what his boys think of him and, like, how he's affecting them by doing this, like, side shit. And then he goes in and, like, is so rude to Nate and is like, I hope you learned a lesson. It's like, oh, go fuck yourself. I hope you learned a lesson when you were off with Morocco in the motel. Monaco. When you were off with Monaco doing your little menage a trois with cooked champagne. Like, fuck off, Cal.
Oh, it wasn't a menage a trois.
Go eat your mac and mash in the motel parking lot. I don't want to hear another word from you, Cal.
Ooh. Burn them, baby. Hot damn. That brought up two things that I would love to talk about very briefly. Okay. The first is that season 2, I want, like, some more Cal Monaco action. I want, like, Cal Monaco, like, therapy sessions where Monaco smokes crack and Cal just, like, cries about his failure as a father.
I mean, he kind of already does that, but yeah.
But I want, like, more of that. And then the second thing is that I saw the fucking funniest fan theory I've ever seen about Euphoria the other day on Reddit.
Really?
Which was that the little missing Jacob's son, the third young boy that's never mentioned, aka Beans, someone thinks that Ashtray is Beans.
Oh, that's
Ashtray,
so stupid.
Fez's little, like, homie. Not
sure
what...
It's his little brother.
I don't think that's his brother, but they're like...
Oh, you're right. We don't really know.
We don't really know their relationship, but
or do we? Have you looked it up, actually?
I don't think it's stated what their relationship is.
We should look it up and talk about it next episode.
Point being, that is the fucking funniest fan theory I've ever heard. That Ashtray, the little hood, like, drug dealer boy, is secretly, like, the Jacobs family. Because they see Ashtray. They're at the carnival together. Like, they would know if that was their, like, missing son, like, dealing, like... ecstasy out of the pretzel stand. They would be like, what the fuck? There's our son. Like,
yeah, it's like I think Euphorians are just really bored in quarantine. Like, they're really just stressed and are, like, pacing their room thinking of these, like, theories, and a lot of them really don't check out. Like, not even close.
That's my favorite one, though.
Well, then I think, if I am correct, I think we skip to Jules, right? Going on her little escapade.
First we go back to Rue's, like, Tribulations, watching Love Island and trying to pee.
Her trials of peeing.
She's talking about...
it looks so miserable, too. Like, watching her makes me, like, get the sweats. Because she's, like, in bed and she looks like she's kind of sweating. I don't know why. It makes me, like... Because it feels like it's, like, summertime and she's, like, wrapped in blankets.
Yeah. And they have makeup on her in a lot of them.
Yeah, she has
so
glitter.
It's, like, looking all shiny and runny and stuff. But
her sitting on the toilet trying to pee, right? Like, it's... Yeah, she's, like... moaning and grinding and on the toilet. It's funny.
And she's talking about...
not funny.
She mentions some famous people that have died while on the toilet. All drug related.
Elvis.
She mentions Elvis, Judy, and Lenny. Judy being Judy Garland and Lenny being Lenny Bruce, the comedian.
I don't know anything about him, but, like, I love Judy Garland.
Both of whom, like Elvis, died with, like, drug-related issues while on the toilet.
They're just trying to pee. That sucks.
Lenny Bruce had the heroin needle in his arm.
I wonder if any of them were
Judy Garland was all fucked up. Probably big, nasty drug shits.
No, they were probably peeing. Then we have the iconic scene where Rue just fucking gives the finger to her mom's new date. Which,
Rue makes it out of the room, and there's old Rick.
Rick's got some ghastly looking snaggle teeth.
Yeah, he's got some bad teeth.
But also, he seems really sweet and innocent. But also, I was telling Alex, like, so my dad died when I was really young. And I feel like you just know if you're dating the mom and after losing a dad, like, you have to fucking know what you're walking into. Like, you are going to be told to fuck off at some point. The kids are not going to like you. Right. So
Rick takes it in stride. He takes it
That's
fine,
what I'm saying. He takes it fine. Yeah. He's also just kind of a goon. I don't even think he realizes that, like, that happened. Like, he's so, like, oblivious.
Yeah, he's kind of...
But it's cute when the mom's like, oh, like, his bio says, and she seems so, like, thrilled that he, like, loves the outdoors and hiking.
She found him on some dating app.
Humper.
She found him not on Humper. Yeah. There is no way this is Humper.
She found him on, like, Bumble.
She's on a much more chaste, like, clean, civilized dating app.
She found him on Humble. Or what's another word for Bumble? I don't know.
Humble?
She found him on Humble.
Pretty good.
It's like a mom app where you find, like, people that want to date.
It's like the equivalent of probably, like, eHarmony or something, right? Like one of the, like...
Or Easy Cupid, or...
Easy Cupid. Okay, Cupid. Maybe a little J-date. A little Christian mingle.
Yeah,
Christian mingle. Farmers Only.
Farmers Only. Oh my god.
I think J-Date and Farmers Only
She's definitely on Farmers Only because Rick looks like a farmer. I don't know what it is, but now I'm like, he's a farmer.
Do you think that you have to verify your status as a farmer to go on Farmers Only? Like, do you have to send, like, photos of your crops? Do you have to confirm that you have, like, X amount of, like, animals? Like,
I don't know. I think we should look into it, though. Maybe we should make a profile.
Verify your farmer status?
That's actually a really good idea during quarantine. That'd be so funny to catfish people on Farmers.
A troll Farmers
Only.
Well, like, there won't be anybody to catfish, though, because nobody can go see each other right now.
Yeah. But anyways, it's really funny. Rue just is like, hey, fuck you. You're also sitting in my dad's chair. Like,
oh, yeah,
fuck
she
off.
roasts him.
She roasts him.
Also, during the scene, Rue is wearing a pretty cool shirt from HDNYC, which is a clothing brand from former skater Peter Sutherland. I guess he's not former. He's still a skater. But this is interesting because this is the second time that there's been clothing from a skater's, like, clothing line, and they're all in the same, like, type, which is kind of like the high fashion, like, skate brands. Like, the other one was Sci-Fi Fantasy by Jerry Shu, and they're both kind of like, they retail, like, long sleeves and stuff for, like, a pretty high price. They sell it, like,
she's wearing designer wear.
They sell it, like, Dover Street Market and stuff. So someone on the Euphoria, like, costume department is definitely, like, a skater or has some, like, ties to the skating world because they keep bringing... Rue keeps having all these shirts. They
have so many resources, so it's not that crazy to think they have access to that.
Well, I don't think it's crazy, but I mean, someone there has the inside knowledge to know.
Fashion,
like, I don't think Rue is not a skater. Rue doesn't have the knowledge to, like, know these brands. Probably, like,
she clearly doesn't give a shit how she...
I don't think she's like into skating enough to be like, a large part of my wardrobe is, like, skaters, like, brands. You know?
But we gotta move on because we're running out of time here, Alex.
All right.
Come on, moving on from the weird skater wear.
Then we get Fez. Fez is taking care of his grandma. Her boob's hanging out. He's giving her the sponge bath.
Rue's kind of losing it.
They're doing the thing. And then
she's manic.
Yeah, she's there because she wants Fez to fucking intimidate Nate.
Which, like, to be fair, like, that's the person to go to if you want that to happen.
Yeah, but also, like, it's kind of sus. I mean, you shouldn't, just because he's your drug dealer and you know he has a gun doesn't mean it's a good idea to ask him to scare people.
But I think she knows Fez
would scare your enemies with a gun.
But I think she knows Fez would defend her to the grave.
Of course, but that's a lot to ask. You got to think a lot before you ask somebody to, like, flash a gun at somebody.
Sure, but you also have to remember she's madly in love with Jules, so she'll do anything to get this situation put to the side.
Yes, of course.
So we have that moment. Then we move on. I don't think there's really much more to say about this scene.
Mouse comes back.
Other than the pills talking, that's funny.
Yeah, Rue experiences the pill
what do you call
bottles
them? Pill capsules
or the pill bottles.
Pill bottles.
Yeah, they're talking to her, like, which is it's some really fun puppetry.
Like, eat me.
Yeah, I love that scene.
It's funny.
Mouse
it's different too. It's not really like something you'd expect in the show at all.
It's great. And then Mouse is there. He's pushing Fez to sell more drugs and harder drugs that Fez doesn't want to be fucking with.
Whatever. Fuck him.
Poor Fez. And then we go on to
Jules, right?
Jules' big trip. Jules' trip to the big city.
We do need to take some time. We do need to take some time on this, though. It makes sense. Jules is going through a lot. So even if we think it's dramatic, she's a high schooler. She's like, this is too much. Like, Halloween was a shit show. I had to, like, throw someone in jail so that I won't go to jail. She's going through some shit. So she takes the train to visit her, previous school friends. I literally don't care to even say the names. They're so, like, whatever to me. I mean, her one friend is really sweet who, like, picks her up and stuff, but, like, whatever. Like, it's just...
Yeah, I don't actually know
She's like a
their
god of
name.
rocket power. I don't know.
I don't know her friend
know her
that picks
name.
her
I know
up's
Anne.
name. And then the
Or
other
Anna?
girl is Anna.
Anna.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
God,
other
I
girl
can
that does her
never get her name
makeup
straight.
and they end up, like, hooking up. That's Anna.
Their apartment's really dope. And to be fair, you know what? Her Stumpy friend is super, super... She's a great host. Like, she's a good friend. I mean, no, she is a good friend.
She is a good friend.
She's, like, catching up with her. She's super sweet. She's like, we're going to have fun. Like, we're not going to think about all this shit.
It's he or... I don't know.
Oh, sorry, they. I'm just going to say they to be safe.
Stumpy
Whatever.
friend.
They're great.
Don't know the name.
I should know
good
the name.
Friend.
Great friend.
But yeah,
but
Anna sucks.
their apartment is so dope. They have, like, these really cool clouds on the ceiling, and I just love it. It's
they do
vibey.
have cool clouds.
So she gets there. She's definitely having one of those, like, naive, immature moments where you're in high school and you're like, I, like, need to break out.
She's
like,
in a
this
big
is my
city.
night.
Everything's feeling magical.
Yeah.
She's doing drugs.
She's like,
She's
forget
getting
Rue and the drama behind
her
me.
makeup did. She's hanging out the sunroof.
Yeah.
Like, it's a whole thing.
And
She
then
thinks she's hot shit.
Anna's fucking annoying as shit.
Anna's annoying as shit.
And I don't say this. What's funny is fans not hate her, but fans don't like her for the reasons that don't make sense to me. Like, they don't like her because, of course, they want to ship Rules so badly, so they immediately hate her. That's not even it. If this girl was, like, more Jules type, I might be like, I mean,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, Anna, she's so, like, she's so, like... She's, like, pretending to be so cool and experienced and, like, this and that. And it's like, who the fuck are you?
This girl's gotta be at most, like, 21, and she's coming in here thinking she is, like, hot shit. She thinks she's the expert on, like, sexuality. She's trying to, like, school Jules on, like, her sexual shit. She's trying to, like, be, like, the cool, like, I do the drugs, I do the makeup, I'll take you to the club. Like, and she's
I'll
a total
give you a
fucking
night
clown.
out. Let me
It's
show
like,
you. And it's like, oh,
yeah, she's a total clown.
Fuck off. Honestly, the Halloween party looked like more fun anyway.
It did, true. But then they have, like, an interesting conversation about the sexuality thing.
Yeah.
And Jules is using this really funny, like, cringy, like, analogy about the video game where it's, like, leveling up, like, which is funny.
Obliterating femininity.
Yeah, which is a cool thing. She's like, basically, I mean, the analogy's very silly, but basically she's not like, I'm trying to reach the goal of femininity. I'm trying to, like, obliterate the idea of femininity. Like, it's more than just, like, trying to be that thing. It's trying to, like, stretch beyond it and outside of it in all these, like, other ways, which is super interesting and very much, like, meshes with her character.
Great for
the way
her.
she dresses, like, the way she acts, it's all, like, very beyond just like aspiring
and
towards
as cringy
femininity.
as cringy as it is, I love that for her, and I do feel like Jules is very confident in herself in terms of, like, knowing where she's at with all that. Like, I think she is. So then we get her at this, like, ravey club, and it's definitely, like, I mean, it is cool. It's like, it's literally what it feels like. Me and Alex have both been to raves. And it is. It's like...
They're out for the night.
They're rolling, and she's rolling really hard, but, like, she's keeping herself, like, put together, but she's definitely, like, way too high.
Yeah.
And this is where we hate Anna.
Yeah, Jules basically just straight up says that she's, like, too high for this shit. And then Anna takes advantage of her, and Jules is trying to text Rue, and Anna's like, no, make out with me instead. And is being pretty sus.
I mean, can you blame Anna, though? Like, Jules is really hot, so I get it. Like, I get that she was, like, clearly trying to put, like, mad moves on her, but it's also, like, the way she did it was just not cool, not hot, and, like, kind of annoying, to be honest. Like, kind of thirsty. Like... No subtlety at all.
Nah,
just, like, too
smooth.
much. No, not smooth. They weren't, like, hot dancing and then they start making out. She was, like you just said, like, was like, no, you're gonna make out with me tonight. Right. Like, stupid.
Yeah, in that scenario, you gotta make Jules come to you. Like, you can't be, like, the aggressor in that situation.
Totally. So then we have this weird hypnotic scene.
They must be at, like, they must be at, like, a 18 and over, like, gay club, right? Like Tiger Heat or something.
Yeah, we had a bar growing up. Or not a bar, we had a club.
Growing up.
Sorry, we had a club growing up called Club Buzz in Arizona where I lived, and it got shut down multiple times for just being, like, too ratchet and crazy. That's like, someone brought a gun there once.
Yeah,
but it was like
that used to happen in Portland.
It was the classic 18 and up, so, like, you could go. So stupid. You couldn't drink, but you could just go, like, go there drunk and like dance and shit.
When I was a freshman in college, we used to go to Tiger Heat in downtown LA,
I went
which
there
was
too.
a big ass gay club. It was a club.
Hollywood.
Like, it was
it
huge.
was fun.
That place is giant.
Oh yeah, it was
blast, super fun.
Though.
They had go-go dancers and shit. And we'd always go all fucked up, and
it was fun.
a good time. So they're at some place like that. Establishment. And yeah, they get Buck, and Anna's kind of a fucking sketchy.
It's kind of weird. They start like kind of hooking up, but then she confuses Anna for Nate. Just kidding.
Yeah, so
it is kind of weird, but it makes sense. Like, I think it's good that they did this, because if they hadn't had this scene, I don't know if we would really understand where Jules stands in terms of like.
I don't think we still understand where Jules stands after this.
I agree, but we don't really get any closure on how she felt about Shy Guy 118 being Nate. So I feel this scene was very necessary, although goofy.
Yes, so we have a scene. They're at the club.
He's like, Jules, I'm here.
And then we have...
I think Nate was really there.
We have a dreamlike... Oh my god. We have a dreamlike sequence where Nate is in the club, and he has some really silly club makeup on, and he doesn't... They did not give him cool club makeup. They gave him, like, very goofy club makeup.
But I think they do that on purpose because it's Nate, you know?
Like, yeah, whatever. Not to be dismissive. I just mean, like... I don't care. He looks silly as fuck. Like,
he's stupid. We hate Nate.
Yeah, so he's there, and this kind of... We have a very ambiguous sequence of them, like, kind of hooking up, but it's kind of angry. Jules is choking him. And it's
kind of like S&M-y, but not. Like, she's more mad than she is into it, but she's also, like, kind of into it.
I think the ambiguity of that scene is obviously addressing the ambiguity of her feelings about the whole Nate thing.
Yeah, and I think it's also, like, leading us into season 2. It's like... we don't really know where they're going to be. So, I don't know. And a lot of people speculate that she kind of has a crush on Nate. I think that's crazy. I don't think she could possibly have a crush on him, but maybe. I don't know. It's so confusing.
Yes. This scene seems to be most people's, like, jumping off point for Jules being into Nate.
She's into Shy Guy.
Personally, watching this scene, I didn't take it that way. I take it more as like she is having to confront her very conflicted feelings about this, which is that she basically fell completely in love with a persona, the Shy Guy persona, that hypothetically doesn't exist, but it clearly does exist somewhere. Like, some part of Nate was able to keep those conversations going for weeks, like, and to carry out that relationship in an authentic way for weeks. So there is clearly, like, truth to that aspect of the relationship. And then she's also having to confront the fact that Nate is also just a fucking shitty person who's fucking up her life and the lives of all her friends. And she's trying to reconcile, like, these very conflicting feelings and trying to understand how they're both, like, occurring within this same, like, fucked up person. And how she feels about it, and it's all very, like...
It's conflicting,
It's very murky. It would be really fucking hard to know how to feel in that situation.
Absolutely.
I mean, well, it wouldn't, because fuck Nate. Like, obviously. It wouldn't be that hard. You just have to be like, yeah, fuck Nate. But...
Sure, but it would be hard to get over it. I don't think it's hard for her. I think she's not going to get with Nate or anything like that, but I think she's mourning a loss.
She's processing a lot here, and this is coming up in this sequence.
The fact that she's also dealing with, like, her feelings for Rue, I think that just adds to, like, the chaos of it. It's a lot.
Yeah, and she clearly has a lot of anger towards Nate in this sequence, even with the hooking up. It's very angry.
It's not ideal. But then she wakes up with a foot in her face.
Yeah, she wakes up in the apartment in the morning, and she's got a foot in her face. So there's Jules' weekend. She goes up on the roof. She texts Rue.
Yeah, but I like the roof scene. I wanted to say, like, her makeup's really cool. It's super neon and stands out a ton, and the lighting in this scene is super dope. And I can relate. I told Alex right before we started this episode, I feel like that scene is so... I don't know. I feel her in that moment because there are so many times I've woken up at like 5 a.m. before the sun's even up and I'm still kind of fucked up, but like not. And I'm just kind of like, you can tell she has a lot of regret. She obviously immediately texts Rue and is like, I miss you more than you know. We've all had those moments where you kind of go all out at night and you're like, fuck my fuck that friend or like, and you just like go out and do your thing and then you wake up and you're like, God damn it. And you like kind of come back to your senses and you're like, okay, like I was an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't have regrets, but she wakes up a little bit
it's cute that she goes up on the roof and texts Rue. It's cute.
Yeah, it's sad.
I like it. Meanwhile, back in small town, we're wrapping up like the Cassie storyline because here she
Cassie.
is. She's got to do the thing. She got to break the news to McKay. So she does it. She tells him she's pregnant. McKay handles it better than I think any of us would have expected, given his character throughout the show thus far. Not like he handles it like stellar or anything, but he's not shitty about it. I mean, he's not like amazing or anything, but he's kind of what you would expect from like a boy that age.
Well, no, I would beg to differ. I feel like he's very supportive, and from what we've seen in McKay, he's been a real asshole all the way up until this point. He's gone through a lot, but like he's very supportive of her. And I actually thought the reaction was going to be so much worse than this when I first watched Euphoria. So I don't know. I thought he was really like sweet and understanding. He didn't like overreact and freak the fuck out like some guys do.
Yeah, the reaction's not bad, but he doesn't leave really any room for anything other than the abortion. It's not really like a possibility that they're going to keep it.
Yes, but I also think he knows Cassie well enough to know that sadly, like, I think he just, it's like when you feel like you know someone really well, you don't have the right to ever tell someone what to do with their body. I'm not saying that, but like, it's like when you're giving advice to someone, you're going to tell them what they need, what you think they need to hear. And I think in that moment, he was like, I know you don't want to have a baby right now. So like...
Cassie might think otherwise, though, because...
True. And what did I just say? It's not right. But I think that was his intent. Okay. I think it's kind of like what I would do with you. Like, if I woke up tomorrow and was pregnant, I feel like you would be like, Paige, we just moved to New York. Like, do you really want to do that? Like, if I was like, but if I was like her, she's literally like, but... oh, what if? It's like, but that's like dreamland. We need to be like realistic.
So if I was off in dreamland and I was like, let me carry this baby, and like you were like, Alex, you need to get an abortion. Like,
I would never say you need to, but he doesn't say that either. He kind of just assumes. No. I guess I'm saying yes. I would assume you were thinking abortion.
Yeah, totally.
Because I know you, and I'm like, like I said, he knows her situation. So I think in his head, I don't think he's pressuring her. I think it's more of like a dumb, immature moment where he's just like, I'm assuming you're going to do this because, like, we're in high school. We can't afford this. Like, this is not your lifestyle. This is not mine. Like, I'm in college.
Right.
Yeah.
But then Cassie kind of has, like, a little bit of a wild card there where she is kind of like, I don't know, maybe this is what I'm meant to do. Yeah. And this is probably the first time I was not on board with Cassie. Not like I have some harsh criticism of her, but throughout the show, she's like, I'm totally in line with basically, like, every decision she makes. And I was like, ooh, girl, like, you can do so much better with your life. You don't need to be a teen mom. Like, you have, like, tons of possibility, tons of potential. Like, you don't...
Well, not early,
come on. Like, don't settle to just be a teen mom and, like, hang out with McKay and his, like, shitty football career and have a baby. Like,
I also told you what I think.
You can do better.
I told you, I think she was looking for validation. I think sometimes when people are like, I think this is what I meant to do, I think they really badly want someone to go, oh, my God, you're right. Like... yes, this is what you're meant to do. And then you get this, like, aha moment of, like, I have an identity. I'm important. And I think she didn't get that. So you can tell. She's immediately, like, in tears. And I don't think it's because she wants this baby so bad. I think she really wanted McKay to look at her and be like, you're of value. You would be a great mom. And, like...
I think give her that comfort. It's a big part of the daddy issues thing, too, where it's like, it would be lovely, probably in some part of her mind, if McKay and her just had a baby and he took care of her. Like, that support and that structure and that, like...
And once again, nothing wrong with that, but I just don't believe... It's not believable that that's what Cassie would decide. I think she was
I think that's a lot of the daddy issues thing coming up, which makes sense that those two things happen in the same
And it's a very sensitive topic, but I just don't think it's her time. But I could be wrong. Maybe Cassie next season is... No, wait, never mind. That couldn't happen. I was going to say maybe she ends up having the baby. I'm so stupid. But, maybe she gets pregnant again. Who knows? I mean, Sydney Sweeney did say the next season's going to be real dark. Maybe she has twins.
She's going round 2.
But anyway, so real somber moment. But McKay, I think, really comes through. And they have this really sweet, like, hugging, conclusion of, like, being supportive of one another. Which is, like, the first time we've really seen them thrive in their relationship. So, cool for them.
Yep. Then we get another step in Kat's journey into online financial domination, where she's got this guy who's been pestering her for a Skype sesh. He's gonna pay the big bucks. Finally, he breaks her down, and she does it. She's been resisting. She puts on the cat mask.
And it's so creepy.
He refuses to turn his camera on. He's got one of those voice anonymizers.
It's like Batman.
So he's got the creepy. He sounds like Batman. He's got a fucking creepy anonymous voice.
Makes her take off all of her clothes, and she never does that for anyone else. And to be fair, I'm pretty shocked she did. To the extent she did. I know she didn't go any further, but I was shook when she took off her corset. I was like, girlfriend, don't do it.
I'm honestly surprised she didn't go farther. I thought she was going to be in that life now and was going to go all the way. I was like, good for you, girl, for closing that shit down, because this was getting creepy as fuck, and I thought she was going to get drawn in.
To be fair, though, everyone else she was, whatever, doing it with before, having those conversations, it was always visible, and it was like guys that she felt like she could just like control because they were fucking idiots, pay pigs, if you will. Yeah. But this guy was clearly in control. This guy is
some next level.
But he was in control. Shit. She wasn't in control anymore.
Yeah. She's getting into some dark, like scary deep web shit.
What do you all think? I would love to hear in our DMs or on our Instagram what you think Kat's next steps are in season 2, because Alex and I were saying like we're really scared for her. We feel like this guy's gonna come back.
We'll see. So this, I mean,
he could be like a serial killer.
I think this encounter is going to go one of two ways, which is that either it was Kat's wake-up call, and she's like, woof, no more of this shit for me, and she goes more straight and narrow, or, like, this really comes back to haunt her, like, and this guy, like...
Or her parents find out. There's going to be something that happens.
Yeah, this guy could definitely fuck up her life. So we'll see how that plays out in season 2. We're praying for you, Kat.
Like... We don't pray, but we're praying for you, girl.
Yeah.
Then what else? We got one more thing we wanted to talk about. Oh, Fezco.
Yeah, basically the only other thing is checking in with the like Nate Fezco storyline, where Rue encouraged Fezco to threaten Nate. Nate shows up to buy some drugs and a mango LaCroix for Maddie, as she says.
Stupid.
Because she's Maddie.
That's not how you say it, right? It's LaCroix.
I don't know what the technical, like, official company
or is that janky, like, white people speak to say LaCroix?
I mean, it's obviously widely known as LaCroix. If you were guessing how to pronounce it the French way, you might say LaCroix, and I forget what the actual company pronunciation
is. Well, whatever.
So
she still sounded silly. I like that she asked for cherry rolling papers, too. That was funny.
She sounds silly as fuck. Also, cherry, ew. Just get the normal ones.
Cute, though.
Or, like, grape.
Cherries are cute looking, but they taste fucking disgusting.
Yeah, cherry-flavored shit is fucking nasty, and if you say otherwise, like... come for you.
Okay, calm down.
So yeah, Fezco puts the threat on Nate. He gives him the little like,
I love this.
I'm gonna kill you, dog. Like,
also, fuck Nate for like not taking it seriously.
Fezco's great, but yeah, Nate.
But the fact that he's like, hey, you're half retarded, and like literally starts coming at him. I'm like, dude, this just shows how white and suburban Nate is. He doesn't know shit about drug dealing and like what could happen to him. I hope season 2 Mouse hunts his ass down.
I mean, this sequence shows the two worlds that these guys live in and what matters in these two worlds and how they operate, which is for Nate, it's about manipulation. It's about the cops using all of these things to your advantage.
Being
like,
a pussy.
Whereas in Fezco's world, it's about just like drawing a gun on somebody, hitting them with a threat. Like, no bullshit. Fezco's like, I'm going to kill you. And they both have these different approaches to the situation and both have their pros and cons. And the pro here is that if Fez just wants to kill Nate, he's going to go fucking shoot him. And the con is that Nate is the type of sly fucking bitch that's going to go like wail to the cops and rat to him. And then obviously Fez and Ashtray end up dumping all the drugs down the toilet and they're in a hot spot with Mouse.
That sucks. Watching them flush those, I'm like, I literally am just like, one tear shed. That sucks. Dude, that fucking sucks.
It does. So yeah, there we go.
So yeah, I would have to say overall, final like little, I don't know, opinions on this episode would be it's very different from every episode we've recapped. I kind of said it's like a filler. I feel like there's not a ton of content. I mean, we just spent, I guess, an hour and 10 minutes, so there is a lot of content, but like, it's different. It's not my favorite episode.
It's a weird episode. It's kind of a setup episode. It's like, we got the finale coming. We got to set up everybody's storylines.
Yeah.
Rue's fucked up from the peeing, and her mom's got to take care of her. Jules is coming back to Rue from her wild weekend.
Yeah, it is setting. You're right.
Yeah, all the characters are getting set up, so it's kind of necessary.
Totally.
But yeah,
it's not a bad episode. But it's
a little
just
light on the action. But you know.
But whatever. Peeing sucks when you're depressed, so that's all you need to know.
So before we wrap things up, we'll just do our brief little run through the credits to see what we've got this week.
Yes, please.
This week we have the return of a character named Custer, who I found out is the...
Return? He was in the other one?
He is in the other one. He's the guy that accompanies Mouse when Mouse visits Fezco.
Yes. The bands counter.
Yeah, yep.
Count of the bands.
So Custer is Mouse's little compatriot. Okay. We also have a character named Harris, who we couldn't figure out who that is.
I really couldn't even guess. Harris?
Harris is played by Shamari Maurice, who is some like famous friend of the Kardashians.
Yes. I know this. He lives in Calabasas.
Despite this, sorry, yeah.
No. He's just a socialite. That's all I know. I just know that he's a socialite. He hangs out with like the Smith family, Kardashians. You know how they have that like clan of people they all like hang out with? Kind of incestuous. No, not shitheads, Alex. Very important people. They all like hang out with one another. So he's always with them. I've literally followed him for like years.
Yeah, so despite him having like a big online presence, we couldn't figure out who he is in this episode, but apparently he's someone named Harris.
If anyone knows who that is, definitely DM us and let us know where the fuck he is in this episode, because I did not see him. I feel like that's just something I would like see and be like, I know that person. Like, I know him that well enough. Not like because I follow him because I like him. I really don't. He's always like, since I was a kid, has been in Kylie Jenner's like Insta lives and shit.
Also, we have creepy male relatives, which is just funny, but obviously those are the guys perving out over Cassie. Yeah. There's also someone called Shitty Friend, and I'm not really sure who that refers to either. Anna. So if you know who that is, no, she's billed separately.
No, they decided just not to even name her in the credits. She's so shitty.
The only other interesting thing in the credits is the puppeteers for the drug bottles, which is cool because I would have assumed that was like CGI, but those were real puppets.
That's so cool. Badass. That'd be really funny to be like, I was in Euphoria, and you're like, oh, what'd you do? And you're like, I was a puppeteer for like half a second.
I made a drug bottle talk in like a hallucination.
Yeah, that's kind of dope though.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that'd be a great like claim to fame. Okay, is that it
that's
for
it.
credits? All right, then on to superlatives.
On to superlatives.
Best dressed.
For me, this episode, it was Jules. No particular outfit like really stood out and screamed at me, but no one else was really looking great, and Jules on her worst day is better than almost everyone in this show on their best day. So
you're so right. Jules even hungover with her makeup, she looked fabulous.
Yeah, totally.
I would normally agree, but I'm just gonna pick Cassie because this was kind of her episode, and she's probably the more we go through this podcast, I think she is my favorite. But yeah, I thought as a kid she had cute outfits. I liked her makeup, so yeah. Not much to say there. Worst dressed. I just said Anna only for the sole reason that I hate her. I can't even tell you what she was wearing, but I know it was ugly. Cool.
It probably was. I chose Kat just because I literally mistook Kat for like a middle-aged woman walking down the street. So that kind of says it all there.
Bae of the episode. I put McKay. I thought he handled the pregnancy news with ease and with grace. And honestly, I know we already talked about it, but I was just shook. I thought for sure he was going to be a royal asshole. So he really came through. Gold star. Algie Smith. Great acting in that moment. So Bae.
I chose Fez this time around just because despite the heat that comes down on him because of it and the potential consequences, he still goes to bat for Rue against old stinky Nate.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's really got her back, even though it's not going to turn out well for him. So
he's such a good friend.
What a good friend.
He's just a good all around. He's probably, when we had that talk earlier in the episode about good people, like, he's a good person.
I think Fez and Cassie are the two best people on the entire show.
Even though he's a drug dealer doesn't mean you're immoral. So it's like he's just making money.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just had to say that. I think he actually is like a good would always make the right choice.
Agreed.
Actually, now that I'm thinking of the finale, I'm like, fuck, he's not a good person.
He's the closest we get.
Someone.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler, yeah, sorry. Fuck. I don't mean to do spoilers, but I would hope anyone that's listening has already seen the fucking show.
Yeah.
Class clown. No, big purple dirty rat bastard.
The old BPDRB.
I just put Anna again.
Yeah, I'm obviously not a fan. Nate is also really shitty in this episode, but I think it's also worth calling out that Maddie and Kat are pretty big purple dirty rat bastard-ish, given that Cassie calls a meeting for support from her friends dealing with a pregnancy, and she literally doesn't even get to announce the pregnancy because they're being so selfish and make it all about them and have a blowout fight in the middle of her time of need.
Totally.
That's pretty trash.
It's just not when you do when you're a good friend. Like, you leave that shit for,
you gotta put your personal shit aside while you help her friend with her prego. All right, class clown.
Rue.
Oh yeah, Detective Rue is hilarious.
Detective Bennett.
I would watch an entire movie of Detective Rue.
Absolutely. Law and Order should do a crossover with Rue, with Detective Bennett and Detective Howard.
I would love that.
That'd be really great. Best couple. This one was kind of tricky because we didn't really get many couple interactions, but I put Cassie and McKay because I felt once again that they were both very mature. I feel like this could have gone like really bad. Like it could have gone south. Yeah. And why do people say that, by the way? Could have gone south. Who cares?
South is down.
West, east.
Down is bad. Up is good. I don't know.
Interesting.
I mean, obviously South's not actually technically down.
I literally never knew that until you said that out loud.
Yeah.
Didn't know that. But anyway,
that'd be my guess. I don't know that for sure. Goes down.
And yeah, I just feel like they handled it really maturely for their age.
For me, it's got to be Fez and Ashtray, just for their
They're
ability.
Not a couple
you don't know that. Their sheer ability to get those drugs down the toilet in time. Respect.
Yeah, that sucks though.
They're good. They're a good team. They work really well together.
They do. They have each other's backs. And for that little bean being how old he is.
Yeah, little beans.
Well, I mean, in the show, they don't ever say like how old he actually is. I'm like, how old is he? Is he 8? Is he 12?
He's very competent.
Yeah, he's very competent.
I would go into the drug business with him.
And then our favorite song, there weren't a lot to choose from, but we did have a favorite.
We did have a favorite. Before I get to the favorite, I think it's worth mentioning that there was a song, When They're in the Rave, by the artist Arca, who is kind of carrying over with the trend from last week where they were really like pulling deep cuts from artists that related to the themes in the show. Arca's a trans artist.
Oh, really?
And she produced Kanye West a lot of the songs on Yeezy.
Really?
A lot of the best songs on Yeezy are Arca.
I did not know that.
And Arca's great on her own.
And Yeezy's like such a good album.
Yeah, great on her own. But
go Arca.
Yeah, big Arca fan.
Sounds like a whale.
but I don't love the song in this episode, so my choice for song of the week goes to Amanda Stenberg. The song is called Be Mine. Yeah, her name is Amanda with an L. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know anything about her, but it's a good song.
It's playing when she's like going on the train.
Yes, this is the song when Jules is riding the train to LA and gets off the train and meets up with her friend.
It's chill.
Yeah.
It's a good like put it on while you're sipping a beer outside.
Yeah, it's a good song.
Well, that was kind of a crazy episode. I mean, honestly, I don't think it's a bad episode. It's really cute because our fans already have been DMing us being like, oh my God, I'm so glad you're doing this. This is our favorite episode, which shocks me because, like, this certainly isn't my favorite, but it's necessary and it's very well done and it's very different from all the other ones. So it was really fun to kind of watch again and review, but it's certainly not my favorite.
I like this episode more than a lot of other people. It's not my favorite either, but if I had to pick, it would fall on the line of episodes I like versus episodes I don't like.
Yeah. I think a lot of our fans like it because they can like relate to like the depression aspect, which a lot of young kids really resonate with, so that kind of makes sense. But like other than that, it's for me, like you said, it's like kind of setting everyone up.
It's a good setup episode for episode 8. The last episode.
I can't believe we're already almost to the finale. I'm like freaking out. I'm actually really sad because you know me, like I will absolutely rewatch this season again, even though we're done with the podcast because I love it that much. But like, yeah, I'm really sad. This has been so much fun, like taking notes on every episode and really diving a lot deeper than normal. But yeah, I'm fucking excited for the finale. I really don't know. Alex and I are very genuine about all this shit, so we honestly haven't recorded or even talked about what we're going to do for the finale, but I do feel like we have to go out with a bang. Even though we're not going out, we have to go out like for episodes with a bang.
Yeah.
So
we'll do
I
it
don't
big.
know.
We'll do it up big, but also
we won't spoil it yet, but like we need to brainstorm something really fun for the finale.
We'll do it up big, but also episode 8 is not the end. We are gonna keep bringing you guys the content on a weekly basis for the foreseeable future. We're in quarantine. We got nothing better to do, so we'll be figuring it out. So
absolutely,
we don't know what it's gonna look like yet. Maybe we'll do like a Euphoria cooking show.
That could be fun.
Knows? Maybe we'll make Cal's mac
I want to do
mash.
drunk trivia.
Maybe we'll do a trivia episode.
Also,
we could do a nerd episode. We got a lot of options.
We have a lot of options.
TBD.
But also, another really important thing, I know it's so fucking annoying, and if anyone knows me personally who's listening knows this about me, I really hate advocating for myself, but like I fucking love our podcast and I want us to do well, and I also really, really, really want a special guest. We have so many amazing people on the Euphoria cast that I know have maybe seen our podcast or have like dug into it. We know Algie is out there knowing we have a podcast. Like, we have connections, so we really want to try and get a special guest on for you guys. So what will help us the most, and I know it's annoying, but just go to Apple Podcasts if you have it, give us a rating, give us a 5-star. I mean, obviously we are 5-star worthy, but like, if you don't think so, we don't fucking care. Put whatever you would like. We want the honest feedback. Leave us a comment, but the Apple reviews are just super important in getting traction. So please, if you can, we would love you to do that. Also, shoot us a DM. A lot of you have been DMing us. We absolutely love it. We answer everyone. Let us know what you want to see in the future. If you have any episode ideas, Alex and I are here to listen.
We are open books.
Yes, open books. And honestly, that's all I have for tonight.
That's awesome.
Well, we'll see you next week, and we are so stoked for the finale. Let's do a little cheers here.
Yeah.
And I don't know, is there anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, that's so euphoric.
That's so euphoric.
See you next week.
Bye.